US oil spot. And in fact, we have quite an interesting situation right now as price action is currently consolidating within a range. And this kind of situation requires a lot of patience for us to wait for new trading opportunities to happen. Now, yesterday we witnessed the publication from the Energy Information Administration, which revealed a surprising uptick in the US crude inventories as we saw figures rising by 1.4 million barrels as against the previous week, which came in at 421 million barrels. For the penultimate week. This is an unexpected increase, and it of course suggests a potential slowdown in fuel demand within the US market. And the mixed fundamental landscape has left market participants hesitant, hereby refraining from making aggressive bets on the oil prices as at this time. Now, with the way things are going here, let's look at things from a technical standpoint on the chart. And to do that, I would like us to run through how we begin our analysis on the 1 hour time frame at the beginning of this week. So the first thing we saw here at the beginning of the week was price was initially consolidating between the $87.50 level and the $86.60 area to emphasize the level of indecision at the point in time. And of course, you know how we use this kind of flag channel in this community. Whenever we see price fall into a range, we exercise patience and wait for either the breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And of course, we did have a buy position triggered at the beginning of the week, which unfortunately went into a loss as we saw price move about 35 to 40 pips in our favor before sellers came in to take us out of that position. And thank goodness we were able to recoup the loss we incurred at the beginning of the week. As you would remember that we had a sell stop order below the support line here to capitalize on the next move. And as soon as price broke down the structure at the $86.60 level, we had our first sell position triggered for the new week. And since then, we have been selling the US oil spot. Now, something interesting happened during the trading session on Tuesday when we also spotted another range between the $86 level and the $85.20 area where price was initially consolidating. And one interesting thing about that zone is the fact that was consolidating around the strong demand zone as at that point in time. So we were waiting for either the breakout or breakdown of that range for an opportunity to join the momentum. And of course, we saw price break down the support line of that range, welcoming more selling opportunities in the market. And we rode the move all the way into the $83 area, scooping over 200 pips. Let's see how many pips that was. So the first position moved over 360 pips, and the second position here moved over 200 pips. So we had a roughly of over 500 pips as at the second day of this week, which is not bad a figure at all. Now, during our live session yesterday, we had a critical zone right here. And of course, remember, I told us all to move all the stop losses of our sell positions just right above the $83.82 level. And the reason why we did this was simply because of this beautiful range we noticed around this area. Then we said we will be waiting for either the breakout or breakdown of that range to give us an opportunity to trade. However, a couple of hours into the New York session, we did saw how price broke down the support line of that range, pushing price to the downside. And I think price moved about 100 pips before we were taken out of that position. And I do hope that you moved your stop losses accordingly. As you know how we do it in this community, as soon as price moves significantly well in our favor, we do want to be moving our stop losses, secure the position so that we don't get caught up in any scenario that results in a pullback. And if we had done that, we must have been taken out of all the sell position with a considerable amount of profit in total. Now, moving on, we saw price climb back up, break out of that resistant line of that range, retested it on the lower time frame to incite another move. As you will see, price moved another 150 pips in our favor. Now, one thing we said during our live session yesterday is that while we are taking advantage of that buy position, that we want to be taking into consideration the zone here, that depending on how price reacts to the zone will be determining if we are going to be adding more buy position or getting ready to sell. And one of the reasons why we said this is simply because of how important this structure was, and for the fact that price broke down that level. And from a technical standpoint, when price break down such levels like this, we expect that some point in time price may come back, retest that zone to incite a downtrend scenario. Now, if you have seen what has been going on in this market in the last 12 to 13 hours, you will see that this area had been characterized with a lot of selling pressure. And if you had bought at this point at the $83.82 level, I do hope you had moved your stop losses after noticing this sell pressure persisting right below or around that $85 area. So if you had done that, well done to you. And if you had not, please move your stop losses accordingly right now. So with a well-secured position at this juncture, what is going to be our next line of action for today? Are we going to continue selling since we started the week on a very strong bearish note, or are there chances that buyers can come in at any point in time to incite another wave of bullish momentum? Now, for us to capitalize on the next move, I would like us to first of all have an holistic perspective into what is really going on in this market. And in fact, for the sake of those who are not part of our earlier sessions, to be on the same page with us today. Now, to scale up, now we are going to the 4 hours time frame where we shall be refreshing our memories as to what we saw during the first trading day of this week. Now, we started the week on the 4 hours time frame where we saw a beautiful downtrend continuation pattern in the form of a wedge. Now, to give a visual representation of what I'm talking about here, we saw this impulsive move all the way into the $81 area, and since then we saw price transition into what looks like a wedge, which from a technical standpoint is considered to be a downtrend continuation pattern. And to make this pattern validated, we will need price to break down the support line of that pattern, which was exactly what happened on Tuesday's trading session. Now, since price has broken down that structure, we of course want to be looking at the potentials of more selling opportunities. Now, in addition to that pattern was that key level, which was situated around the $87.50 area. Definitely, this level here had played a major role in determining the direction of price action since the month of September. And of course, you know how we do it in this community. Whenever we have key levels like this, we want to only sell if price remains below that key level. And of course, that is exactly what happened in this market since the beginning of this week. Now, with the way things are going right now and the fact that price has broken down the support line of that downtrend continuation pattern, we do expect that some point in time price may come back to retest the trend line or that key level to incite a downtrend move. And in fact, since price tested the $81 area right here on Tuesday/Wednesday, we saw some bullish momentum begin. And the question at this point is this momentum going to extend into the key level where we want to see how the market will react to that structure to know what our next line of action will be, or are we going to be seeing a downtrend continuation from this area? Now, if you look at this structure closely, you will see that price action found selling pressure at a very critical point around that $85 area, which we identified on the 1 hour time frame. As you will see that since the early hours of today, we have been noticing selling pressure around that area, in an area which had been a strong demand zone in the last couple of weeks, as you will see here, before it was broken to the downside on Tuesday. And from a technical standpoint, we expect price to retest it to incite a downtrend move. So now the question is, are we going to be seeing a retest to incite a downtrend scenario, or are we going to be seeing price break out back into the $87.50 level, where we shall be looking forward to see how the market will react to that price level? Now, with the information we have gathered on the 4 hours time frame, we would like to scale back down into the 1 hour time frame, where we shall be looking out for new opportunities for today's trading session. Now, scaling down into the 1 hour time frame, this is what I was able to spot this morning. So while trying to dissect the structure here, you will see that price is finding selling pressure around that the previous demand zone that was broken on Tuesday, and it appears price is retesting it to incite a downtrend continuation. So when I zoomed into that structure, this is what I found. I saw a range where price was confined within the $85.30 level and the $84.85 area to emphasize the level of indecision at that point, and to further confirm that we are at a crucial juncture in this market. And you know how we do it in this community. Whenever we identify a range like this, we want to exercise patience while we wait for either the breakout of the range to happen to give us an opportunity to buy, or we wait for the breakdown of the range to happen to give us an opportunity to sell. And in fact, with this in mind, we saw how price broke down the $84.45 level to trigger a sell position. And in fact, if you had missed out on that opportunity, the market was so kind enough came back again to retest the structure to incite a downtrend continuation. And if you really have taken advantage of this opportunity, in fact, well done to you for being on standby to capitalize, let alone even observing and noticing this setup. However, if you had missed out on this opportunity, there's no problem. We are going to be looking at how we can also capitalize on the downtrend move if price will decide to continue to the downside. Now, for those of us who took advantage of the breakdown of the $84.85 level with the intentions of a downtrend continuation, kindly move your stop losses right now, and I'm going to be advising you to move your stop losses to the entry point, as at this point we are not going to be considering this bearish move as profit at all. Anything could still happen here. Buyers could still come in at any point in time. So let's move our stop loss to break even, so that the worst case scenario that we can see here is neither a loss nor profit. Now, with a well-secured position at this juncture, what is going to be our next line of action for today? Now, what I did here is to identify another level at the $84.38 area, and this is simply because of the way price action had reacted to this area. Now, if you look at what happened during the later part of the New York session yesterday, we saw both selling pressure and buy pressure around that area. And in the last 4 to 5 hours, we saw how sellers were actually struggling to break through before it took price back into that zone. So I was of the opinion that if price will further drop to the downside again, breaking down the $84.38 level, I will be adding more sell position, which is exactly what is going on right now. Now, for those of us who had missed out on the sell position, let's wait and see if the market will be giving us new opportunities. Of course, you know that from a technical standpoint, when price breaks down a structure such as the $84.38 level that we have here, we expect that some point in time price may come back, retest the structure to incite a downtrend move. So if you had missed out on that opportunity, let's see if the market will come back, retest the structure, give us some selling pressure below on our lower time frame to give us a new opportunity to join the downtrend continuation. And if price continues to drop, we have levels like the $83.82 area. We also have the $83 level, which you can see right here, and of course the $81 area, $81.80 level to add more sell position if price continues to drop to the downside. Now, there is a caveat to this setup which I would like to emphasize at this juncture. Now, let's look at this critically well. Now, remember that during our live session yesterday, we talked about this range here where price was broken out of during the New York session yesterday. And from a technical standpoint, when price breaks out of a structure, we expect some tries retracing back into that area to incite an uptrend move. So in as much as we're looking out for selling opportunities here, and if price continues to drop to the downside, as soon as it gets into the $83.82 level, kindly move your stop losses, secure your current sell position, and let's exercise patience and wait to see how the market participant will be reacting to this level. Now, if we begin to see a breakdown of the structure, then this further emphasize the strength of the sellers, so we will be looking out for more selling opportunities at the breakdown retest of that structure. However, if instead we begin to notice buy pressure around this area as we see sellers finding it difficult to break down and settle below the $83.82 level where price action transitions into a reversal pattern, then this might be the beginning of an uptrend continuation. So let's keep this in mind while we continue to enjoy the bearish momentum. Please note that as soon as price gets into that $83.82 level, move all your stop losses maybe to around the $84.38 zone. Wait to see how the market will react to that structure to determine what our next course of action will be. So that is how we are going to be managing our positions on the US All Spot for today. So I do hope you will mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today's trading session. So if you have any questions whatsoever as regards the current setup, or you need me to shed more light in a particular area you find clumsy or not too clear, please feel free to let me know in the comment section.